All right, boom. In the building today, we have someone, in my opinion, who is the epitome of turning a bad thing good, a ruler with an extreme iron fist, and someone with a wealth of knowledge that I can't wait to soak up. You know what I mean? We have,
Okay.
I want to get this right, Sir
No, it's
Bobbie.
Bobbie Cummines.
No, you don't deserve to be acknowledged
All right,
though.
okay.
We have Bobbie Cummines in the building today. How we doing, sir? Everything
I'm
good?
all right, thank you. It's
Yeah.
nice to be here with you.
Most definitely. Now, I appreciate your time and, coming
No
to rock
problem
with
at all.
us for Vlad TV. And yeah, pretty much just going to get into your story. And yeah, really looking forward to it, man. Like,
Okay, let's do it.
all right. So first order of business, if we was to take it all the way back
Yeah.
to your earliest years and you can tell me your most earliest memories of childhood.
Well, I grew up in an Irish family with 8 kids, 4 boys, 4 girls, and all my family was straight goers. My dad was a builder, and my mum was a stay-at-home mum, looking after the kids. I was the baby, and I went to grammar school. I had good education, but my dad went bankrupt, and I got a bit angry about that. And we lost our nice house, our builder yard and everything, and they took everything from us, and we wound up living in a council flat.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up on the street, and I used to do boxing, in schoolboys boxing, and bantamweight, and I was pretty good at that.
Right.
But I got a job in the shipping office. I left school early because we had to bring money into the family. We was poor, and in them days all the street doors was open, because we had one thing in common: we was all skin, so we didn't steal off each other. It was different races of all people. There was no racism shit or anything like that.
Right.
We was all one lot, and we looked after each other. And you could go in anyone's house and their mum would give you a meal. It made me laugh when people talk about Chinese. I go, hey, Chinese food. I've sat down and that with a Chinese family, same as like jerk chicken. I laugh. I go, no. And Judah's mum used to go, you stay at my kitchen, you feed the dumplings. I used to nick her dumplings, fried dumplings.
You're a fan of the dumplings,
yeah,
actually.
And they're beautiful people. When we grew up safe, there was no worrying about your kids. There was no nasty stuff going about. And we used to go thieving, which we didn't see it as thieving. It was survival,
Right.
We nicked something. And I had a little go-kart thing that we used to go around. We used to sell newspapers to the fish and chip shop. And the earliest one I remember, and he didn't pay. Well, I had a friend, right? He was a Maltese guy. We went to school together, and we had this cart we pulled along. And we used to collect the papers. And he went, something, we don't know how to collect these papers. I said, why not? He said, my dad's shop. I said, yeah. He said, they throw the papers. The van comes on, throws them out. He said, and we just load up the thing. We go around the other shops and nick the papers.
Right.
So we nicked the papers, think we was being smart, and took it to the guy who owned the fish and chip shop. So we give him the papers. He's clocked it's all today's newspapers, and he wouldn't pay us. And it was in the 50s, you still had bomb debris, where after the war,
Of course, yeah.
and it was a dead cat. And I really had the hump with this guy. And I picked up the dead cat by its tail. And I meant to throw it at him, but it hit the counter and it went into his fryer. So it shut his shop down. So he's screaming out, blue murder. And my dad come up and he's shouting and hollering. And my dad said to him, what's the matter? He said, that shut my shop down. That boy yours just threw a dead cat in my fryer,
Wow.
And my dad said, what's it all about? I said, he didn't pay me. I was a little bit of a business kid, I was a streetwise kid.
Yeah, you had it screwed on from early sort of thing.
And he went, we need it. I said, well, give him the newspapers. He went, they were stolen newspapers. So my dad said, have you taken them back to the shop where they supposed to have nicked these? But he went, well, no. He said, so you're using them to wrap up your fish and chips with? He said, well, then pay them.
Makes sense.
And my dad used to do bare knuckle fighting, so he weren't going to argue with my dad.
Well, yeah, don't want to mess with him, basically.
No, so he gave my dad the money. We didn't get the money. My dad went down the pub and he had with his pals and they all had a drink on our loot. Wow. So I learned then you've got to look after yourself. But at the age of, went on, we had gang fights. Dad come with a bayonet, we'd go with an axe, cutthroats, and it was quite nasty. Different gangs from different areas.
Right.
Do that. People got cut, and then I thought to myself, it's purely business. I mean, I'm not a gangster, never have been, never wanted to be a gangster. To me, crime was a business, and I was a businessman. His business was crime. I got right into it. But what happened was, I was over Finsbury Park, and a couple of my old school pals, they fired a starting pistol, and 2 coppers come in, was having a go at them. Me being leery, I've always been leery and a bit mouthy. And I went to them, and I was working in the shipping office at the time. And I said, you can't do that. I said, you've got to have a responsible adult there. These are young people. He went, you seem to know a lot. He said, I went, I know my rights. He went, is that right? And they walked out the park, and I thought, gone. They come back into the park with a cutthroat razor, threw it on the ground and went, we see you just throwed at your nicked. Fitted me up, right? Now, I was straight goer until then, so they stitched me right up. My old man being a straight goer, he's come down the neck. And he went, what's all this about? And they went, defensive weapon, a cutthroat razor. And he went, wait, I said, it's a fit up. He went, well, what are you talking about, fit up? I said, it's a fit up. They planted it on me. He went, policemen don't do that. You know, he was a straight man. I said, I'm telling you, they fitted him up. So he said, look, your mother's in tears. He said, the copper told me, if you go in there and plead guilty, he said, you get a £10 fine. You plead not guilty, they're going to send you up the steps and get you a ball stool. I didn't care because most of my pals was in ball stool anyway.
Right.
But I thought, no, I don't want to hurt my mum. You know, we're a close-knit family and, you know, we all loved each other. So I went all right to take the £10 fine. Go back to work, the gut call, pay the £10 fine. Go to work, and of course they've read it in the newspapers. I've lost my job. So my dad.
So you being convicted, or had you been convicted or just charged?
No, I got convicted of carrying the cutthroat. I wasn't guilty to save my mum and the family, right?
Got you.
So what happened was, I've gone back to work, and he went, look, and I got on well with these people. They were nice people, you know, and they said, Bobbie, we've got to let you go because it's customs entry forms and all that. You know, I knew what was on ships coming in and all that. Criminal record, you couldn't work there. So I got the sack. Went home. My dad went, well, you can come and work. And I thought, no, I was sitting in a caf. We had a little Greek caf. We all used to go in, have a cup of tea, bit of toast or whatever we could afford. And all the boys was at it. Some of them was doing crazy stuff like burglaries and all that. And I sat and looked at them and they went, you want to come in with us? You know, you got form there, couldn't get another job. I said, yeah, all right. I said, but we do it my way. And they went, what do you mean? I said, there's not enough dough here to share out with all these others. I said, we've got to go to war first. We've got to make sure we own the cake. I don't want a slice, I want the whole cake.
Right.
I said, but you've got to be prepared to have a battle. And that's how it started with the cutthroat, you know, cutthroats, bayonets, hatchets, and all that. And I noticed I was getting blood on my suit. And I thought, this is not good business, you know, really nice suits, you know. So I thought, get a gun, it's easy to shoot them. I got a 410 double barrel, and it started from there. And I let it off a couple of times. And people thought, well, hold up, you don't mind pulling the trigger.
Right.
And the older guys then come in and went, do you fancy coming on armed robberies? But, you know, they're doing banks and all that.
Right. So just to backtrack for a second, so the first actual offence with the razor that the police tried to stitch you up for.
I've done all the rest. Everything else I've done, right? I always say, yeah, I did that, you know, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
And, I mean, I've been done for murder, got a manslaughter, but, you know, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that razor.
Right.
And I swear that. You know, I've got no reason to lie.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
I've shot people, robbed banks and everything else, and I go, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah,
That's down to me. That weren't down to me.
Right.
That was a fit-up. And that's what started my criminal career.